right now. And welcome, thank you for being here today. My name is Silvia. I work at the Scuola Leonardo da Vinci in Milan. Some of you already know us. We are an Italian language school based in Milan, Italy. We've been operating in the business for 20 years and actually for 50 years with all the other Scuola Leonardo da Vinci. And since 10 years, we also do university preparation courses to help foreign students, international students prepare for Italian university. Today with me, we have Enrico, he's our Director of Studies. And
hello, everyone.
We also have Anna, she's our Student Service Specialist.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And finally, we have Andrea. He is our one of our teachers and tutors for the university preparation courses. He's an architect and a university professor. Has a PhD in architecture as well.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so let me share my presentation. Okay. You should now be able to see the presentation. And let's go quickly over what we're gonna see today. We're gonna start with an introduction on why studying in Italy is a good idea, all the advantages, and we're gonna then move on to the procedures to enroll in an Italian university because there's always a lot of bureaucracy, so we're gonna get into detail about that. And then we're gonna move to our architecture and design programs, both our preparation courses and some details about the architecture and design programs at Politecnico di Milano specifically. Finally, you're gonna learn how to enroll in our courses, and we're gonna have a Q&A section at the end. So if you have any questions during the meeting, feel free to leave them in the chat. I'm gonna gather them all and we're gonna answer them all at the end of the presentation, okay? And that being said, I leave the word to my colleague, Anna.
Hello, so first of all, nice to meet you and thank you for participating to our open day. So we will focus why choose Italy and in particular Milan to study architecture and design. The most important is the quality of the education. Consider that most of Italian universities are in the top 200 and 100 in the rankings as best university in the world, and especially if we consider Politecnico di Milano, it is one of the best universities for architecture and design, and it has the 10th place and 8th place for architecture and design courses in the QS World Ranking. So this is one of the most important motivation to choose Milan to study architecture or design. Then if we consider other aspects, we can see that the tuition fees are lower if we compare them, for example, to the US, UK, or other countries in Europe. And if you choose public universities, consider that the tuition fee can be from 200 euro to 4,000 euros depending on the income, but there are plenty of opportunities to get a scholarship as well. So it is the tuition fees are very convenient, and also considering the the costs of living in Italy, they are lower, and considering the housing, the cost of the public transportation, which in Milan is very efficient, and also this aspect can be important in the choice of the university. And this is mostly for non-European students. For those having a student visa, it is possible to work part-time for a maximum of 20 hours per week. So this is also an important information if a student would like to work during their studies to get also more experience. And after the end of the university, it's very easy to get work opportunities in the areas of design. And Milan is also famous, especially for design. Consider that in mid-April there will be the design week. So it's Milan is a good choice because it organizes in the cities there are many events related to design, and it has also many interesting monuments and architecture buildings. So it's also very important from a point of view of the historical, cultural, and artistic heritage. So we can now see how to start the process to enroll in an Italian university. So there are different requirements for Italian and European students and non-European. But of course, there are general requirements valid for all students. The most important is having 12 years of schooling. So in case students completed 10 or 11 years, it is important to reach the 12 years of schooling, attending a university course in the home country, or taking a foundation year for like as a preparatory program for the Italian university. Then, of course, each university has their own requirement, and in most cases, there is an entrance test. So it is also important to pass the entrance test in order to enroll in the universities. In order to see all the details about the procedures for the application in the test, deadlines, there is a website called Universitali, in which there are all the information, and it is a portal in which it is possible to enroll to the universities. And of course, it's also very important to check the university website about the details of their programs and deadlines about the enrollments. And of course, if students choose to take the course in Italian, there is a language exam to take before before the start of the universities, and in certain cases before the entrance exam. And in alternative, it is possible to show, in case you already have it, an official certification around the level required in most universities is B2, but sometimes it's also sufficient to have a B1. And this is indicated in the requirements of in the university website. So here you can find the documents that are needed for all the students applying to the university and for non-European students. So the documents required are, of course, the high school diploma, and in case of students who had 11 or 10 years of schooling, it is also required a diploma of post-secondary course or of completion of the foundation year. And this high school diploma should be translated into Italian. In some countries, it's required the legalization of the translation. In other countries, it's required the apostille. And then it is necessary to have also a document called Declaration of Value, Dichiarazione di Valore in Loco in Italian. It's a document provided by the Italian embassy or Italian consulate, in which it's indicated what the student studied at high school, the score of the final exam, and it's necessary both for European and non-European students. The students, the non-European Union students should also start a process called pre-enrollment in the Italian embassy or consulate and request an entry visa that will be a student visa. And then once students have passed the exam, they will be able to, of course, to enroll and then to request the permit of stay for university study reasons. So now, as we are talking about architecture and design, we will see like the general timeline to pre-enroll, to register for the test, and then enroll in case you have successfully passed the exam. So usually the pre-enrollment process starts in this month, so from April to June, and it is possible contacting the Italian embassy or consulate. So the embassy can issue the declaration of value, and you can prepare all the documents required, and it will also be necessary to get the pre-enrollment form from the embassy. And then for now, Politecnico di Milano has not issued yet the deadlines for the architecture exam, but last year the exam was held at the end of July, so this year the date will be similar. So consider that usually you have from the mid-June to mid-July to register for the entrance exam, and then at the end of July there will be the test. The results, of course, will be available around August and the first days of September. So in that case, it will be possible to complete the enrollment in September, in case there are some delays in October. While for design, there are already the dates. For your Italian and European students, it is already possible to take the entrance exam, and the deadline to apply for the final day for European and Italian students is the 10th of April to take the exam at the end of May. And once the results are available, it will be possible to complete the enrollment usually in September. While for non-European students, there is one date for the exam that will be on the 3rd of September, and the deadline to register for the exam will be the 31st of May. So in this case, the pre-enrollment, it is possible in April, May, and until mid-June. And then once you pass the test in September, it will be possible to start the enrollment a few weeks later. Now I pass the word to my colleague Enrico, who will introduce some universities in Italy in which you can study design or architecture.
Hello everyone, welcome also from my side. Going on with the presentation, here you can see all the university in Italy that are actually offering architecture or design course, especially Milan and Turin. But then we have more public universities offering architecture. It's not only Milan and Turin, of course. You can find a course in Florence, in Rome, in Venice, in Ferrara, in Pavia, etc. All these universities, I repeat it, they are public universities, especially for architecture. So as Anna already explained, they are very competitive in terms of quality, but also in terms of costs. Consider that a course at a public university for architecture the cost per year would be maximum around 4,000 euros nowadays, plus the living cost in a specific city. So it's very competitive if compared to I don't know, a UK or a USA university, for instance. On the right, you may see the universities offering a design course. And again, we have the Polytechnic of Milan, which is public again, and also Polydesign, which is a consortium, which is another, it's an entity, it's another organization, private, offering mainly master's degree. And then you have more universities such as the Florence Design Academy and Polimoda, which are private. La Sapienza in Rome, it's public again. And then we have a few more private universities here in Milan, like Domus Academy, the Marangoni Institute. These are private again. The Institute of Universal Art in Naples and Milan, which is again private, as well as the IED. And then the University of Bologna, which is public. So you have both a private and public offering here. And of course, my advice would be not only to choose the university where your students or your daughters, your sons will like to study, but the choosing the proper university means also to choose a proper, like a city in which they will have to live for 3 or maybe more years. So you have to take an important decision, not only from a didactic point of view, but also about budget, the cost of life, services present in that specific city, and many other aspects. Based on this offering here in Italy, we have, of course, 2 different admission tests for architecture and design. Based on last year structure, as Anna already said, the Polytechnic of Milan architecture test was on the 26th of July, and we expect it will be more or less the same date, so at the end of July, with a similar number of spots available. The structure of the test, which last year was slightly different from the previous year, will be most probably kept like you see, with 50 questions structured in 5 different subjects. These 5 subjects are present, except math and physics, are present also in the design admission test. So you find 10 questions on text comprehension, 10 on general knowledge, focus on history of art, logic, drawing and representation, and math and physics. All of them 10 items to be answered within 100 minutes. And the same, a similar structure, you can find it for the TOLD, the admission test for design, which has a larger part dedicated to general culture. You see, with general knowledge, you see 24 questions out of the 90 for general knowledge. And then drawing a representation, history and art design, logic, and again, text compression. Additionally, there are also 30 questions in English. For the English language, be aware that our course anyway focus and prepares students essentially without English. So our course deals with the admission test subjects, but not English. As you see, the structure of the points is similar for both tests. There is 1 point for every correct answer. And there is a minus for a wrong answer. So one strategy, for instance, which is useful and which is taught during the course, is that if you don't know, if you are not so sure about an answer, you better skip that question, otherwise you get a minus. So in general terms, this is the structure of the admission test. As Anna said, the told test for non-EU is confirmed on the 3rd of September. And that's why we offer an intensive course, which is maybe in the next slide. No, okay, thank you. Thank you, Silvia. And that's why we offer an intensive preparation course at the end of June until the end of July, dealing with design. An intensive preparation course held in Italian to prepare students for the design admission test. The structure of our preparation courses is the same, which means that you will always find 140 lessons per course, which means 105 hours of teaching, of teaching, structured in the subject of the admission test. So if, for instance, for the architecture admission test, we have 5 different subjects. The structure of our program is divided on those 5 different subjects with a similar amount of hours. So you will find about 20 hours per subject within our preparation course. We can go back a little bit with a couple of slides. Okay, so following what I was saying about the intensive preparation course, what we offer is an intensive preparation course, which we offer on site and online on specific dates. I will tell you the specific dates later again, and an extensive preparation course. We are going to start an extensive preparation course, especially for architecture, the next month, starting from the 15th of April. This preparation course will be for architecture and in English. It will be entirely online, and as said, it will start on the 15th of April until the end of June, for a total of 10 weeks of course, based on 140 lessons, which again means 105 hours of classes. The course deals with the subject present in the admission test. So general culture, logic, drawing and representation, text comprehension, and math and physics. I'm talking again about architecture. And you can see the prices at the bottom of the slide regarding the architecture preparation course in English, which is 1,870 euros plus a registration fee of 30 euros. Again, the course will be held entirely online, and for the English preparation course, because we expect to have last year students of high school, and therefore most probably they are busy with school during the mornings, and we try to schedule all our lessons during the Italian, the European afternoon. So expect to have a schedule consisting of a couple of hours of class per day. Probably later on there is an example of a daily or a weekly schedule. The This is for the extensive preparation course, which means that it's a longer preparation lasting for 10 weeks. We do offer another format, of course, which is, as I was saying before, the intensive preparation course, which lasts 4 weeks, is a month intensive course from the 24th of June until the 19th of July. And we offer either in English and in Italian for architecture and again for design. The amount of hours is the same, so 105 hours, and the structure is the same. We find again the same subjects, and therefore the schedule is more or less the same, but compressed within 4 weeks. The price is also the same. In Italian, there is a different price for the Italian preparation course. I think we can go on. This was the design preparation course, and this is an example of schedule either for the extensive preparation course or the intensive program. As I was saying, do expect to have 1 hour and a half or 2 hours, maximum 3 hours of class per day, depending on also on the schedule, on the availability of our teachers. For the extensive preparation course, expect those hours, so around the Italian afternoon, the Central European Time afternoon. And regarding the intensive program, as you see, it's a very intensive program. Expect to have your students here at school if they are on site. Expect to have them studying here for around 6 hours per day, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, maybe a little bit more, with the possibility to have class also on Saturdays sometimes, especially during summer. I think we can go on after this example of class. And here I'm going to leave the stage to Andrea. He will give you a very fast example on how the classes are organized with the premise, which is that we try to put together during our courses theory together with practice. Because what your students are going to do is to have mock tests during the course, because at the end we like to offer something also very practical, to give also some tips on how to answer questions, and to have also a time management during the test. So I leave the stage to Andrea.
Thank you, Enrico. Hi, I'm one of the teachers at Leonardo, and I'm taking care of the modules of History of Design and Art and Representation. And I'm going to give you a few slides as an example of what we're doing with students, what we're teaching, and how we're teaching. I studied at Politecnico Milano, and I've been teaching at Politecnico Milano, so my expertise is from Politecnico Milano, but I have knowledge also of other universities, such as the one in Florence, the one in Venice, the one in Bologna. So basically, we can also tailor classes to what universities students are going to. That said, the test for architecture and design are pretty much the same, because the ministry gives one test for all the universities. So the preparation that the students are doing at Leonardo is basically the same for all the universities. And it's mostly comprising of multiple questions or straightforward questions. So nothing to be written, nothing to be drawn. But that can be quite tricky, especially in History of Design and Art. And that's the subject in which most of the students find trouble. because drawing a representation is pretty straightforward. I'm going to give you an example later on. But as you can imagine, studying history of design, the whole history of architecture and design from the ancient Romans up to the contemporary times is quite a huge task. So our task is basically to give students a structure, a strategy through which to study with us, but also on their own, the test and the text, the book text, through a method that simplifies basically the acquiring of the knowledge of these huge subject. So for the module of History of Design and Art, basically the subjects comprising these modules are History of Art, studying through movements, artworks, and artists. And that is the first, let's say, a first strategy that I always give students, not to find foreign in studying these huge subjects, but dividing these subjects in sub-modules. So we can study history of art through movements, or through technique, for example, or through instruments. And that gives us a more comprising, a more easier way to study history of art. Same for history of architecture and design. So our classes are taking care of history of architecture, dividing the whole history in periods, of course, in chronological periods. But we are encouraging students to view these subjects also through materials, through colors, through artists and architects. For example, I will be asking students to view architecture, the history of architecture, through the material of concrete or bricks, for example. And I'll be asking students to picture a map of the whole history of architecture through a particular material. And that sort of simplify the study of this material. If we go forward with the next slide, we can see an example of a typical question that students can find in the test. So place these buildings in chronological order. Very simple question. We have 3 images here of 3 quite similar buildings. So the first task of students is, of course, to recognize the function of this building. Are these building a residential building, or a library, a theater, or a church? In recognizing these are churches, they can then pass on to recognize the style and the period. And in facilitating the recognition of stylistic characteristic, I'll be giving students tools, specific tools, through also representation, through which to recognize characteristic of similar buildings of, for example, like in this particular case, different periods. The typical class will comprise of a face-to-face lecture, and then I'll be giving tasks to students, so they can in class do some tests, some sample tests, or some exercise that I'll be providing the students. And then, of course, I'll be giving them homeworks that we'll be reviewing all together in the following class. If we pass on to the next slide, we'll see how the other module that I'm taking care of, drawing and representation, is structured. So same as for history of art and architecture, This module requires basic knowledge of the main representation and visualization technique and standard styles. For example, in the test, there might be a question dealing with recognizing a perspective or an axonometric view. The ability to visualize a 3D form from a 2D drawing and to abstract 3D objects into 2D drawing. So again, as I was saying, I'm trying to give students a structure through which to understand sample test questions and to memorize a structure for acquiring a strategy to be quicker in solving problems. And in this structure, the ability to abstract images that we're seeing on a screen, for example, a church like in the previous slide, into a 2D drawing by drawing very basic forms that the facade of this church is structured, or to recognize detail in complex compositional forms is crucial. Then if we are seeing a sample question, we see that, as in this case, we have a question dealing with two techniques of representation, an orthogonal projection and an axonometric view. And the question asks to match the correct sides of object drawn in axonometric and orthogonal projection. So the task is, by seeing this chair drawn in a 3D drawing, to recognize which side are the 2D drawing on the left side. These tasks can be confronted by looking at the general picture, but then by looking at the small detail. Again, the structure of the course is to maximize the time of the test, basically, because there are many questions and the students need to be quick. So the main objective basically is to give a strategy through which to tackle as quick as possible all the questions. And these again will be done by in-class exercise and homeworks as well.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Enrico. Thank you, Andrea, for your presentation. So as you can see, our courses are at the same time very theory-based and practical-based. So your students will learn all the strategies on how to prepare for the test, how to handle time, how to solve problems. They're very like soft skills based, but also very practical. So they will work on actual past papers and learn how to reply to the actual tests. And just a few more words on why should you choose Scuola Leonardo da Vinci for your preparation course. First of all, we have many years of experience in preparing students. We have been in the business for 10 years, in the business of university preparation for 10 years. So we have now quite a lot of experience with that. Not to mention, we've been working in the Italian teaching business for more than 50 years. And according to our statistics, our preparation courses will raise your chances to pass the test by 50%, which is quite a lot if you think about it. And another huge reason is because of our teachers and tutors, because all of them are highly specialized in what they teach. For example, Andrea is an architect and a university professor of architecture. So all of our teachers are very specialized in the topics. And another really good reason is our environment, because here at school we try to be as friendly as possible and we try to be more like a family than a school. We like to talk to our students and we like to provide them with activities where they can go out and enjoy and meet new people. So the atmosphere at our school is really great. And As I said, the course will help the students to better manage their time available and gain more confidence with their questions. And also our academic advisors, Enrico, and also the staff here at the front desk is super helpful. And we try to give our students the best experience possible. So we like to support them in every step of the way. And finally, for all our students, not only the Italian students, but also students preparing for university, they will have free unlimited access to our Leonardo online platform, which is basically where they can learn Italian and do some exercises by themselves if while they're here, they also want to learn the language. And so now we're gonna move on to the question sections. So I'm gonna start reading the questions in the chat. And while I start to read them, I see Nicola has raised his hand, so feel free to speak up.
Okay, thank you so much, Silvia. This is Nicola Keeper from Premium Media Consulting. We're based in Venezuela and Peru, and I have, besides the question that I wrote in the chat, I also have a question regarding students with double nationalities, which is often the case in the countries where we are based. If they have a European passport besides the national one, they consider European students, just like in the case of the medicine exam, or are they consider national of the countries where they are from? Thank you.
Yes, so thank you for your question. So students having double nationality are considered like Italian European, so they can take the test in this frame, and also this applies also for those who are permanent residents in Italy. That means, for example, they are not Italian or European by nationality, but who have, for example, a permanent permit of stay. In that case, they can also be considered as Italian European.
Okay, thank you so much. The other question was for Andrea, maybe, I don't know. It regards, I would like to know, if possible, which other universities offer the degree in English, the architecture degree in English besides Milan and Turin?
I know Venice offers a degree in English, and probably Bologna, but I'm sure Enrico knows more about that than me.
The private ones.
The private ones.
Okay, design, like interior design, but not architecture.
Probably yes. We should check if YED also offers architecture in English.
They don't.
No?
No, because they represent YED as well, and they don't. They have interior design, but they don't have architecture. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so reading the chat. So I'm gonna go in chronological order. So the first question maybe is for Anna. Pre-enrollment would be will have to be made at the embassy or the consulate and not at the university. Is that right?
Like you should contact both. So in general, the Ministry of Education releases the procedures in March. So in the next few weeks, the Ministry of Education will releases the procedures and deadlines. And in order to forward the pre-enrollment request, usually this is made through the university portal. But anyways, you should contact as well the Italian embassy or consulate, because they will be, of course, in touch with the university, and they will issue both the declaration of value and then the a document like called the pre-enrollment form, indicating the choice of the university which has been made.
Okay, hopefully that answered your question. If not, Alexandra, you can write another question in the chat or speak up as well. Next question is, I didn't really understand this one, so maybe you can like talk about a bit more, talking about the question by E1 International. Didn't really get that one, so maybe you can write a more thorough question. Next question is it possible to study for civil engineering with your school? And the short answer is no, we don't offer the engineering program this year at Scuola Leonardo da Vinci in Milan. However, you can have a look at the our other schools, because I'm pretty sure that Rome and maybe also Florence, Scuola Leonardo da Vinci Florence, offer engineering preparation programs. So you can try to contact them. Next question is about the presentation. Yeah, I forgot to say this, but yes, you will all get our PowerPoint presentation in the email after the open day. If you don't automatically get it, then you can write us. I'm gonna pop up our address here on screen now. Next question, again from Alexandra, is, could a student do the 10 weeks online and then go for the June or to July on campus? Can the student actually do this?
Yes, even if the program is more or less the same. He or she will repeat and it's not losing time, but expect to have the same program in a different format. So it depends a lot on the time that your student has. If she can start earlier, I usually suggest to do the extensive preparation course, because they can, let's say, digest all the information and study within a more extended time. Meanwhile, an intensive course, of course, it's only lasting 4 weeks, and the program is the same because it's a preparation course for the same admission test from students that are starting from more or less from zero sometimes. And regarding the question of by first semester certification, if I understand correctly, maybe means that if a student is attending a semester in another university, if she can attend or skip the exam. This is not the case, especially if he is coming from abroad. What you can do within Italy is to ask for a transfer from one university to the other, and this is done usually also after an approval for a specific commission. This is possible if you start architecture, you do the first 2 semesters in, I don't know, Rome, and then you want to transfer. If there are spots available at the second year of your second university, you may do that, but not from abroad to Italy, let's say. You have to take the test. If this was the question.
Okay, thank you, Enrico. Another question is, what level of English do students need for our preparation courses? Do they need a specific IELTS score or?
To us, they don't have to present a certification, a proven certification. Most probably they will have to do that later during the enrollment procedure at the university. Of course, you have to have like a B2 completed to fully understand the program, the course, and especially the test, which also deals with text comprehension, either in Italian or in English.
Okay, if I don't see any other questions in the chat, so this is a last call for questions.
I don't know if it was clear, it's B2. B1, he can attend our courses, but a B2 is far better.
Okay, so if no one else questions, yes, you will receive the presentation by email. Yes, if you don't receive it, again, you can email us and we'll send it straight to you. And so if no one has any other questions, I think we can conclude the open day here. If you
Silvia,
oh.
sorry, I had raised my hand. I
Oh,
had
sorry, I didn't see that.
yeah,
Sorry.
they took it off. Sorry.
Okay.
I have a question. I have a
Mhm.
student very much interested right away. I put it in the chat. So who
Mhm.
should I write to in order to be better prepared for the information I will give the student? Because she's very much interested to start right away.
Okay, you can just email us. The address is on screen right now. It's
Mhm.
milan@scuolaleonardo.com, and we can set
Perfect.
up another meeting for you, like a private meeting, so you can
Perfect.
ask all your questions. Also, for everyone interested, we also offer this service. So if you want to book a meeting with us, a private meeting, just email to this email address you have on screen right now, and we will organize it for you, of course.
Great. Thank
Give
you.
all more relevant information. So once again, thank you for being here today. We hope you found it useful. And again, if you have any questions, you now have our email address. And wish you good luck for your studies. Wish you good luck with your students. And see you soon. Ciao a
Thank you.
tutti.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.